this is Colin. What Colin was saying right before we just started here is that within a year, he thinks he could go sub 4 in the mile. Thinks it's an impossibility. And I find that very fascinating because I don't think we really realize how elite we are at this one craft. Like, you don't really think of yourself as like this elite talent at this one thing. And I was like when I was running, like, and like you've gone a little bit further in the sport than I have, but like we were better than 99.9999% of the people in the entire world at something, yet we make no money off of it whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been crazy. Like even, in high school, like just all the talent that was like around us, there are guys who are all Americans now and, Olympians, even Olympic hopefuls. Like we've always been around like such like high level talent. Like it's hard to see like how good you are compared to just like the average person.
And especially coming from our conference too, that we ran in high school, is like, it doesn't even compare. Like you meet kids and they're like, oh yeah, I got 7th at my conference. And I'm like, oh, where are you from? Like South Dakota. And I was like, what'd you run? Like 1730? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, wow, you would have been like 25th on our team.
Exactly.
It's absolutely insane. Something that interests me about your story is like you weren't a stud in high school. Like you weren't in the beginning for sure. Like you started off, you were just another jogger,
Yeah, pretty much.
And now you're like better than, like we said, like 99.999% of the people in the world. Like what is that story?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I think, at least, for me, it was my life. But, I started out like freshman year of high school. I was, a scrawny little kid. I weighed like 90 pounds, was like, 5 foot nothing basically. And I just, wasn't really good at other sports. And I came in and, I did track and did cross country and just, had a lot of fun with the guys. And I think that's kind of like what made me just want to keep coming back for more. And then, sophomore year, same kind of thing, grew a little bit, not that much. And just same thing, I thought I was going to be so good, because I was like, oh, all I got to do is like hit a growth spurt. And then, I'll be as good as, whoever, some insane runner. So eventually, like my junior year, I started growing a lot and I was like, oh boy, here it comes. Like, and I still wasn't very good. I ran like 10 minutes for the 2 mile, which, that's all right. Like I was really happy with it as a junior, but, compared to where I am now, like, that's just a jog in the park. And then I was still so slow. Like, it's such a big difference between running, the 2 mile in high school and running like 800. I ran like 2:20s for the 800, which is so slow.
Buddy.
Yeah. I remember my junior year of high school, I ran this 10 flat and my coach was like, all right, we're going to put you in the 800 to hit kind of the other end, that 800 speed. And I ran like 2:22. And he's like, what the heck? You basically ran that time in your 2 mile last week. And then, so basically, like, I think what you're asking about, the summer going into my senior year, I think I kind of finally learned the value of hard work, if that makes sense. Like, I was looking at these guys, and I thought it would just kind of come to me, but I was seeing like, hey, these guys are like, really grinding. Like they're coming out here every day and like pushing themselves like to the limit. And so I think kind of what it came down to is getting more comfortable with being uncomfortable. And then another thing, also learning how to be like more present, like mentally during racing.
That's one thing that I've realized, like, since I've stepped away from the sport and you start to hang around like normal people a little bit more, I guess like average people, like they don't realize how far the body can push. Like they're like, we got like, oh, it's like 7.4 miles and we're like driving or something. And they're like, that's so far. It's like, yeah, I'd run like twice that every day, like that's an insurmountable distance. But to us, it's just like, just start going and you're gonna get there. Like it's kind of
Mhm.
how it works.
Yeah, no, my coach in high school always used to say, like, whenever you think you've hit your max, like you're all the way burnt out, like that means you have 30% more to give. And I don't know how true that is, but it was always kind of like in your mind, like, yeah, I'm like capable of more. You're right.
Yeah. No, there's like crazy moments like that. Like my freshman year of college, I get to Oregon. I'm out there running the team and stuff, and we have our first meet. We got there before the rest of the kids went to campus and stuff for school. So everyone else was coming that weekend that we were going to go up to Seattle to go run our like pre-conference. And that morning, I missed the bus. So I'm like losing my mind. I'm like, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna have to hop on a flight. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, what? And my coach is like, no, man, you're just kind of shit out of luck. And I'm like, fuck. My mom had flown out from Illinois to Seattle to go watch it. And I was like, this is just bad. But it gave me this outlet. And I was like, what should I do? I should do something I can't do normally. And so I decided I just go run up Mount Ashland, which is like the town was called Ashland. So I ran up. I just started going. I was like, I'll figure it out. Like I'd only run on the trails for like a couple weeks, and then
Yep.
just heading up to a 7,500, like 6,000 feet a gain kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'd never done anything like that, and didn't bring any food, didn't bring any water. Get to like the last mile. This hill is just like that, bro. I run like a 22-minute mile, like trying hard.
Yep.
Like would have equated to like 6-minute pace. Cause I'm like, ugh. And then I turn back down and I'm like, I'm done. What am I gonna do? And I'm like getting like the sorry thoughts. And I'm like, this sucks, all this stuff. And I'm running like 10-minute pace down this mountain. I trip, just fucking face plant on these rocks. And I'm like pissed. And I'm like, why are you just being a sorry ass right now? And I was like, that's when Kipchoge was like really starting to pop. And I was like, that man just smiles. He gets in the most painful situation you could possibly be in. And he's just like, it's like creepy.
Yeah.
And I was like, let me try to figure something out like that. And I just start, picking it up a little bit. I'm like, actually, this is all in my head. And like, I was like set, I could only run 10-minute pace down this mountain. And then, the next mile is like 8:30, and then it's 8, and then it's 7:45, and then it's 7:20. And then all of a sudden I ran like mile 27 in 6:30. And I was like, wait, that was in me the whole time?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
What? That's like how much potential we have that's just completely untapped.
Yeah, just like getting over that hump of, like you said, like feeling sorry for yourself, like, and just thinking like, no, I can do this.
It is kind of interesting, like running just has like so many parallel like life lessons. I feel like every single person I've ever met that like ran in high school is like, yeah, that's kind of like the most important thing that's ever happened to me.
Right.
Like even people that don't keep running, they're like, oh, it taught me like camaraderie, teamwork, not being a bitch, like
Yep.
waking up at 6 a.m, like, and just also like performance, because it's like a peak performance sport at the end of the day. Like you have like 5 days of the year or 5 days of the season where you have to like be on, and then the rest of the time it's just doing monotony. It's crazy.
Right. Yeah, I feel like we always talk about like, in basketball, like if you want to, like, you can just go to the gym and just put up 500 free throws, like spend a couple hours just doing free throws like forever. And with running, it's like, like you just got to do like this, you only have like a certain amount of time every day, because like you can't run forever. Like, you got to just do the same, a set amount of things every day and just unleash it like all at once. There's like one effort. You can't get like streaky during a race. It's all at once.
That is true. Like in every other sport, it's like normal to just like go into slumps and stuff. Like mid-game, mid-season.
Yeah.
Like you can't. I was like,
Yeah.
lose, especially like if you're running like a marathon and you have 2 a year, like 2 races,
Right.
whereas baseball players have like 180 games a year. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
just a completely different thing. So like you have all this going on right now. You're currently explain where you are right now.
Yeah. So I'm in a hotel right now because I'm in Des Moines, Iowa for the Drake Relays, which is like, some super historic track meet. They've been running it forever. And yeah, I'm running the 1600 leg, which is like the anchor, the last leg of the distance medley relay.
That's fire. It's gonna be cool to just like be on that track. It's like,
Yeah,
so many
it's
pros have
cool.
been there and just
Yeah.
like a cool energy to be at. But
Yeah. Because I'm so used to, it's track. Like normally you get just parents of kids running. That's like the only spectators, but it's like a huge thing in this town. Like everybody in Des Moines shows up for the Drake relays. So there's like a bunch of stands, like a bunch of fans. It's gonna be really cool.
have you never been to like one of those before?
No, like the thing is
Wow.
with track for me in college, my freshman year, I redshirted to like keep my eligibility. So I didn't go to any meets. My sophomore year, I only ran indoors because outdoor got canceled because of COVID. And then last year, we did like a Big Ten only schedule. So I only went to like Indiana and home, and there were no fans allowed. So this is like the first time I've kind of been like had a real track season.
Wow. That's crazy. Cause like there's just something different about those that there's the Texas relays, the Drake relays, anything in Eugene. They're just like
Yeah.
different, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I ran a half marathon that ended on Eugene, like on the old Hayward field,
Oh yeah.
like right after 8th grade. Just like it just feels different, man.
Yeah,
It's
man.
cool. Like just to have a community around you that can give you that extra whoosh,
Exactly.
take it. So you got like all this going on right now. Like taking step back, like where do you what's your like 5 to 10, man? Like where do you see like your life going? Like what's the progression here?
Yeah. So like the thing is I'm probably done with running after next year. I've got one more year of, grad school, and then that's kind of like it for my like professional running career. So it's or my amateur running career, but
Oh, are you
it's
getting paid?
no, I'm not getting paid. I wish I was getting paid. This NIL stuff that only goes to the football and basketball guys, it seems like. But no, so after after this, it's kind of just, you know, part of me is, ready to like, you know, just jump into the world and, do my career and kind of like hit the ground running. But then part of me like really wants to just kind of like go off the grid, like just do something crazy for like a year. I always said I wanted to like work on a boat or something, but you
Oh,
know, I don't know. I guess I got a year to figure it out.
you could do that.
Yeah,
You're like an Alaskan salmon fisherman for like a year.
exactly. Or like work on like a container ship or something. Just like totally go the opposite way.
That'd be nuts, bro. You'd have so many, they'd work you like a dog, bro.
Oh
Like
yeah.
16-hour
Oh
days.
yeah.
But you learn a lot about yourself for sure.
I'm sure. Yeah.
What's like,
It's
go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say it's weird. Like my girlfriend, she's done with school now. She's gonna be a teacher, and she like just got accepted at a job. So like she's like going into the real world. Like she's signing paperwork and stuff, and like she's just gonna be a teacher. And it's like I'm so happy for her, but it's crazy to think like next year, like this time next year, like that could be me. Like I just have a job and I'm just, ready to go to work.
Jeez. Yeah, I've personally tried to not have that happen. So
Yeah.
no, man. I mean, I would definitely encourage like at least do a year of something that's just like
Right.
weird, you
Exactly.
know? Because you gotta, I don't know, like when I was in college and stuff and like in that system, like I didn't realize like how different the rest of the world actually was. You know,
Hmm.
it's almost impossible when like you know where your next meal is coming, you know what you got to do each day, you know where your life's headed, you know like this exact goal, like degree or whatever you're trying to get.
Right.
But then you like take one step off that campus and you're like, oh, shit, no one
Yeah.
actually gives a shit about what
Yeah.
I do, you know, like my parents, a couple of my
Right.
friends, kinda, and that's it.
Yeah. It's like these like college people, like the people, working just want to like pump up their like placement numbers. Like, oh, everybody, 90% of kids who come out of this program get a job like right away. So, they're pushing you to like get the job, and I'm like, oh, I kind of want to just take a year at least to just kind of do stuff like on a whim, because I feel like once you start that 9 to 5 life, like there's no going back. Like you can't just say like, I'm gonna take a year off.
Yeah. Because then you just got bills and you get a house and you have kids and then
Right.
the
Yeah.
whole thing starts going, man. I know. I do it. What would you, so you said you want to do a boat. Like what else would you thinking you would do? What are the
Yeah.
other dreams?
So like, are you saying like if I just kind
If you
of
just
go
like
go do stuff,
went off.
I would like just drive around, sleep in my car, like go see national parks. I guess it sounds like super cliche, kind of, because it's the into the wild thing or whatever that
Yeah.
you know. But I mean that just sounds cool. Like I love traveling. Like me and some of my teammates drove from Illinois out to Colorado and then out to Utah last summer. We saw Rocky Mountain National Park and we went to Moab and saw Arches National Park, and it was like the best trip ever. Just kind of we had like a rough itinerary, but we didn't have campsites a lot of places. It was just kind of show up and see if there was availability or like find a free place to camp, and like that was just awesome. So kind of do that. Just odd jobs, I guess, to make money.
Yeah. It can be pretty fun. As long as you have like a little, the only problem I've ever found is like if you have zero direction, then it starts to be aimless and you get sad. But as long
Yeah.
as you know like a little bit, like you're like, oh no, this is pushing me this way, or I'm learning this or doing that, or progressing something in this facet and this facet of my life. As long as you have that, it's pretty fucking fun.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. But if not, then it starts to just feel like why am I doing this? What's the point of life? Like, and then you get really like sadistic and you're like,
Yeah.
like, what is the point? All I do is drive, park, drive, park, drive.
Yeah, that's it's like a vicious cycle.
But then the other flip is like all I do is work, work, sleep.
Yeah. It's like that like that episode of SpongeBob. There's like that like little clip of the guy who just like he's like sitting at his car and then he's sitting at his desk, then he's at home and it's just like the same facial expression.
Oh,
Guys just in the rat race.
interesting. Why do you where do you think this like into the wild, where did that come from in you? Like what kind of like sparked that?
Um, I really think it's just like I've, I'm from like the suburbs of Chicago, like a nice suburb. And, I went to school 2 miles from my house at, a nice public school that, was just kind of normal. And then now I'm going to college, 2 hours from my house, but it's still in Illinois. It's a nice school. It's just kind of, I just I feel like I've been in like a bubble my whole life, like I meet the same types of people, because everyone's comes from like the same circles as I do. And it's just like I just want to get out there and just see what else there is, like pop the bubble, go just to see. Because like I feel like it can't all be this same life that I've been doing for 21 years now. There's more out there.
That's like some of the biggest realizations I have is like just within America that has the same currency, same politics, same like everything is like the same.
Yeah.
There is so many differences in the lifestyles, in the environments that people live in. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like I just moved to Omaha, Nebraska. Never thought I would
Mhm.
live in Omaha, Nebraska, but circumstances brought me here. And so now I'm in this apartment and like my two roommates are both Mexican, boyfriend, girlfriend kind of thing. And I've never lived in like the Mexican part of town, like it's
Mhm.
different. And they're like explaining like, oh yeah, like South Omaha, that's the Mexicans, West Omaha, that's the whites, North Omaha, that's the blacks. Like that's just what it is. And it's like
Right.
I've literally spent my life in West Omaha the whole time. And
Yeah.
I feel comfortable there. I don't feel as comfortable here. It's just different. It's like, and then you start to like really go into like the wealth disparity and like health disparity, like where like it's busier here. It smells a little worse. Like it's like the apartments are
Right.
not as nice. Things are cheaper, but like everything just is a little bit less quality. And you're like, man,
Yeah.
I'm like, I was just living that West Omaha life the whole time.
Yeah.
And then that's just one
It's
town.
yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about that. You can learn about it in the classroom as much as you want, but like getting out there and really experiencing it's the only way to really understand.
It's also crazy. Like in America, there are kids that wake up and they live in the desert, the swamp, the woods, the
Yep.
city, the jungle, the mountain. Like there is literally like every single environment you could possibly imagine. The kids just wake up and that's their life.
Yeah.
Like one thing that got me is like half this country like doesn't get snow, like
Right.
consistently. Like they didn't have snow days. What?
Yeah.
Like that's like that's such a key part of my childhood is like, oh yeah,
Oh
snow days.
yeah.
They're like, oh no, I've never
Yeah.
seen snow.
Like I got family who lives in San Diego, and I remember when I was a kid, like they came to visit in the winter, like around Christmas, and it was snowing, and like they had like jeans and like a hoodie and a jacket, like that was like their winter attire. I was like, it's just like crazy, like, oh man, like you don't even have clothes for this, like it's just so different. And like we went sledding and they were like, they had never done that before. Like they could go to the beach anytime they wanted, but like sledding, like that was like one in a million.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. That's crazy. There's something about the California too, is like what I've noticed is a lot of Californians don't leave California very often. So they
Yeah.
like just don't like the rest of the world doesn't exist to
Yeah.
the California locals. And so like a lot of them, like surprisingly a lot of them have never seen snow before. And I'm like, you have snow like within 2 hours of you at any point of California in the winter. Like there's mountains that are
Right.
12,000 feet tall. Like
Yeah.
just never was. But man, where do you I guess besides running away from it all, after that, like what's that path looking like?
Yeah. It's like, so like I'm going to school for, like, the name of my degree is technical systems management, and then I have a business minor. So like those, I always joke like technical systems management, like that doesn't really mean anything. It's just kind of buzzwords. Like it sounds cool, but I think like what it really means is just kind of being like the middleman, the guy who can, work with the business side, work with like the engineers, and kind of, make that communication happen. And
Mhm.
like, I guess the passion, in here is, you know, I always tell people like I want to go save the world. So I think, what I'm kind of narrowing in on is doing something like working in renewable energy, because I think that's like future. I mean, if we're really gonna, people say like, if we don't address climate change like soon, like it's irreversible. It's something like within like 70 years or something. So like, within the next generation. So kind of going out there and, just at any level I can, any scale I can, trying to make a difference in, fighting climate change, and energy is, I think, the place to do that, because that's where, a lot of the problems stem from.
I think a lot of people, I mean, have those ideals, but the real lack is like how, like,
Yeah.
where do you take it? Like, where is this hidden gem, or like this unpursued thing that we just like haven't tapped enough, that's gonna like make an actual significant difference?
Yeah. So I think, like, all right, my opinion, and I think, it's not a super uncommon, is that right now, like, pretty much the only thing we can do is go back to being way more reliant on like nuclear power. And I think people get really scared of that for some reason. I mean, I know the reason. It's because like TV and movies, that like Chernobyl show on HBO a couple of years ago, people like freaked out about that because it's scary. And it is scary. Like, nuclear fallout is scary, and radiation is scary. But the thing about it is like the infrastructure for nuclear, and like the way that it's proven to work, like it's ready to go. Like, if people, were in on nuclear power and weren't scared of it, and it had the funding, like the US could be completely nuclear reliant, within 20 years or less. I mean, I'm just kind of taking that number off the top of my head, but it's, the only thing that's really ready to go big enough scale. Solar and wind, like all that's great. Like, I really believe that it's an important part of like our energy future, but we couldn't be fully reliant on it, soon enough to really make a difference. And then kind of beyond that, nuclear power has like two sides. There's nuclear fusion and nuclear fission. And what we've been doing, nuclear power plants today run on nuclear fission, which is, the one you think of as dangerous. I guess it creates the chain reaction, and that's how nuclear bombs work too. But what like the scientists over in Switzerland at CERN are working on is something called nuclear fusion, which is like what goes on in the sun. And they that's, I think, is like the long-term solution. Like, it's way out there, it's super like sci-fi basically, but that's the long-term solution.
And what's the difference between nuclear fission and nuclear fusion?
All right. I'm not a nuclear engineer, so I'll try to give like a simple baseline answer. Nuclear fission is basically you shoot a neutron at a chunk of uranium, which is unstable, and it causes a chain reaction, which makes a bunch more neutrons that crash into other uranium atoms, and it creates a lot of heat. And the heat is used to boil water, which turns into steam, which spins a turbine, just like coal. Coal makes heat, you burn it, makes heat, makes steam, spins a turbine, same thing. And the thing about nuclear fission is that it's technically an unrenewable or a non-renewable energy source, because eventually we will run out of, uranium or thorium or whatever, radioactive element you're using to burn in that nuclear reactor. But it'd be, a long, long time. And nuclear fusion produces way more energy, because what it does is it builds hydrogen atoms together into helium atoms. And that creates a ton of energy, a ton of heat, and works kind of the same way. Except instead of, your byproduct being, radioactive, uranium, you just are left with helium. And it's like way more sustainable and, way safer, and also produces a lot more energy. Like I said, though, I'm not like a nuclear engineer. I think most of that is right. I'm like 95% certain on all of that. So,
Okay.
but that's kind of baseline. Yeah.
So if nuclear fusion is the future in the long term, why aren't we doing it right now?
Well, it's really complicated, and it's kind of, unstable. It's hard to sustain. Like the nuclear fusion reactor that they have built at CERN, over in Switzerland. I was reading an article a couple months ago now, but it was something like they had just managed to fire it up for the longest time in history. They ran it for the longest amount of time they've ever been able to do it for, and it was like 13 seconds. Like,
What?
yeah, like before it was like unstable. So it's, and not like unstable like it's going to explode. Nuclear fusion like doesn't explode. It doesn't make bombs. Can't make a bomb out of it. But yeah, like I said, that's like, it's like super advanced science, super advanced physics. They're working on it over at, like I said, at CERN, where they make all the discoveries. So I think it's just like the understanding and the technology like just isn't there yet. And that's why I think like nuclear fission, we got to go to that right now, because we really just got to buy ourselves time. I think is kind of the sad truth of it. We got to buy ourselves time from, burning coal and oil and natural gas.
Do you think like how long would that transition take to go into nuclear? As like do we even have that infrastructure right now, or would we have to invest trillions of dollars to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like some, it is a big investment, but I'm kind of the opinion that like with the climate crisis, like there's no issue bigger really. I mean, there might be more pressing issues, famine and hunger and disease and not to mention social issues, but in the long term, something that affects all of humanity, like the climate crisis is it. Like life will not be the same in 100 years if we don't do something about what's going on now. So it would be like a huge investment, but the thing about nuclear fission is that it's a big investment, but it's ready to build. Like we know how to build fission reactors. We know how to run them safely and efficiently. Like there's no R&D in it. There's no more research. I mean, there's always more research, but there's no new discovery that needs to happen. Like it's ready to go.
Interesting, because I know that like Europe and I know France specifically is super into their nuclear, and Europe is sort of was going very wind solar kind of thing, but since the Russia-Ukraine war incident that's going on currently, there's kind of a reversion back into nuclear or other alternatives because they don't want Russia to control their lives basically with the oil export.
That's kind of, it gets complicated, doesn't it? Like, just like, energy independence is, one of the, is insane, like for a country to have. And, we're seeing it here, like the gas prices are like just insane because, oil from Russia, it's crazy.
Yeah, no, the gas, isn't it crazy? The gas is like we're coming up on like almost 3x like what it was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That's disgusting. And it's only going to probably keep going more because we're going to keep being mean to Russia because they're being mean to Ukraine, and then this causes like blech.
Yeah, that's one of those things that gives me pause about, driving all over the country if I'm paying, $5-6 a gallon.
Yeah, you just have to get a Tesla or something, man.
Yeah.
Dude, Elon though, Twitter, you backing?
Here's my position on Elon and Twitter.
Okay.
It's kind of a boring position. Unfortunately, I don't really care that much.
Wow.
I just don't think it's going to change that dramatically. I'm all for like the freedom of speech on Twitter. I think, as long as it's not like promoting anything illegal or violent, like go for it. Say whatever you want on Twitter. And I think that's, so like, I don't really care. Like, Elon can do it, can do whatever he wants, basically.
I feel like Elon's a pretty smart guy. And if he's going to make a $50 billion investment, he's probably got some ideas, you'd think, right?
Yeah, like I think so. I mean, Yeah, I'm sure he has his ideas. I'm curious to see how it plays out. I don't want to sound like disinterested. I just I'm not like up in arms about it, or I'm also not like, yeah, go Elon all the way. I'm kind of just like, let's see how this plays out. Like, you know,
For sure. I mean, I think it's like it's a cool counter movement because there's just been like social media, man, it's just so it's so one-sided in who's running it. And like to say anything other than that is like, I don't know, seems ignorant. All the tech people are just, a bunch of libs, it's just what it is, man. And it's just cool that Elon is like this super billionaire guy, but he also like at least seems like he cares. He seems like the
yeah,
Batman that's gonna save us from all these bad guys.
yeah. I think he probably thinks of himself that way.
Dude, do you know his schedule, man? Like,
I've heard he like sleeps in conference rooms at like Tesla headquarters and stuff like that.
yeah, like the man has his day chunked out into 5-minute blocks for every
Oh my
5-minute
God.
period of the entire day.
Wow. That's insane. I thought my day was like fully scheduled. Oh my gosh. 5 minute blocks.
Yeah. And he takes
Wow.
like 300 flights a year.
Mm-hmm.
The funniest thing to me is that Elon Musk flies private from South LA to North LA to beat traffic.
That is like that's a classic like billionaire move. Like that's something you would see like Iron Man do in an Avengers movie.
Well, because like an hour of Elon Musk time is worth what? Tens of millions of dollars, maybe.
Probably, yeah.
Like it's worth it when you pay 10 grand to go across this, LA.
Yeah.
Like pivoting, where do you derive value in your life? Where are like places that like you think about, or things that you do, or like, little hobbies or something that makes you just feel like human?
Yeah. I think more than anything, I get value just out of relationships. Um, like I said, kind of way back at the start, like the reason I kind of stuck with running, like stuck around with it was just like hanging out with like the guys on the team, like going for a run was just like the best. And it's still true today. Like going out for, 16, 18 miles, like with my teammates, I there's not a lot I wouldn't trade for that time. Like just as corny as it sounds, like no phones, no one's checking their social media. It's just us like running out in the middle of a cornfield, and it's just where the conversation goes. Times like that, or sitting around just watching a movie, just talking. Like the relationships that like I've developed with like my teammates and like with my girlfriend, like that's just when I'm with them, I feel a lot more whole than I do just kind of on my own.
Mm. And there's like a ideology where it's like you should be able to feel whole just by yourself, and
Mm-hmm.
versus like where is the yin and yang of like feeling whole by yourself but also feeling whole with your partner?
Yeah. Kind of as I was saying that, I was thinking about like, dang, did that make me sound like I'm like sad when I'm alone? But like that, I guess that's not true. It's that's really interesting to think about, like, you know, value coming from relationships and then feeling whole by yourself. Yeah, I mean, there's kind of a lot to unpack there. Like, I don't know. Maybe I need to spend more time alone.
No, because like I don't know, like you think about it, like so being social is like such a core piece of humanity,
Yeah.
yet there's also like you want the independence to feel good just by yourself the same time, and like is relying on having social interaction like bad? Like relying on having social interaction to feel good, is that not good for you? Because like how many people can really just like be completely content living a year without seeing a human?
Yeah. I I don't know. That is kind of crazy. Like I like you said, being social is like such a big part of like our life. Like even when, it was like quarantine, when, COVID first started, like, I saw my parents and, I was able to like, see people on runs, safely and stuff. But like, yeah, like I couldn't imagine like just where your thoughts would go, like being alone for that long.
Like now that I'm thinking about it, like what's the longest you've ever been without interacting with another human?
Not that long.
Right?
Like I'm thinking like maybe, oh man, I guess do you count like interacting like online, like texting somebody?
I think so, yeah.
Then not long at all. Like maybe 24 hours, like
Maybe.
maybe, yeah.
Like what would you even like 24 hours? That means 24 hours without like any technology, and you're completely like alone in the woods, basically.
Yeah. Oh man, because now I'm thinking about it like I don't know. I was thinking maybe like a day like that I was like home alone like over the summer one year because like both my parents work. So, sometimes I'm, home alone and I've been on, I've done like phone like detox before where I just like won't go on my phone for a whole day. So I was thinking like I probably spent like 24 hours, but I also probably like watch TV. And I know, that's not interacting with someone, but it's like I still feel like you kind of get something out of that where you're like seeing other people interact, like really just being alone with my thoughts. I don't know, a couple hours on a run, maybe.
That's so crazy. And you still probably saw a couple people run past
Yeah,
you.
yeah, like see people on the trail or something. Yeah.
What the heck? And like you're still like reminded of humanity. Like you're still wearing like shirts other humans made, clothes, shoes. You still got your hair that was done by some human. Like
Right.
you got your
That's
watch on, like or whatever the
yeah,
heck.
yeah.
Wow. I don't think I would say 99.9% of people, maybe more, have never spent 24 hours straight, like just with themselves
Yeah.
entirely.
Probably, yeah.
I feel like to truly do it, you would have to be like alone, naked in the woods. You
Yeah.
know?
That's probably something that like hasn't happened since like the 1800s.
Wow. What the heck, dude? I feel like that's like one of those things where it's like, okay, that's got to have some kind of like influence, like something that's not
Yeah.
like that seems like bad that we haven't done that.
Right.
Like what kind of like mental illness or physical illness comes from never spending like even one day with yourself?
Yeah. I think it's just impossible to say because like you said, like no one has done that. Like,
Yeah. Dude, what I want to do really bad is like, like the PCT
yeah,
or like the CDT or AT. Yeah. I want to
yeah.
hike one of those.
That would be awesome.
That's what I want to get some money together and then just like, it's funny
Just
too, because like I do social media in a way, but like
mhm,
I also kind of don't want to be doing social media,
yeah.
like it's like fun and stuff. Like it hits a part of my personality. Like I'm very like extroverted and like that like entertainment kind of way, but then also like I'd say even more of me is just I want to be to myself. And
Hmm.
like it's a little introverted extrovert. There's definitely a mix, and I'd say even more introverted than extroverted. But so and yeah, if I walk for 4 months straight, I might find a day alone, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. You probably will.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What are you most excited for in the next 3 months?
Next 3 months. Oh boy. You see, like the obvious answer is like graduation, getting a degree. But honestly, I'm not that excited for that. Like it just doesn't really feel like that huge of a deal to me. Most excited for in the next 3 months. I gotta go with running at the Big Ten championships. I
Oh
think
yeah.
that's kind of biggest thing on the radar.
How do you qualify for that?
So for Big Ten championships, it's just like a number, like 2 entries per event per school. So I'm running the 10,000 10K.
Jeez. When's that?
That's gonna be like a week from tomorrow.
Oh wow, really? Where's it at?
It's at Minnesota, University of Minnesota.
Hopefully it's not like 40 degrees out.
Hopefully, yeah.
Dang, bro. Wow, that's super exciting, bro. Like what are your goals for it?
I really just kind of want to score points, which is top like I don't know, top 10 or top 8 or something. But I want to go in and really like I don't really have like a specific time goal. I just want to run. I just want to be involved in the race, I guess, because I ran the 10K at the Big Ten championships last year, and it did not go well at all. I just like the first. It's a long race. It's like 30 minutes. So the first 5K, I was doing pretty good, and then I just checked out. Like I just wasn't like involved. I got lapped by the leaders and it was just miserable. Like just getting to the finish line. So I think the goal is just like, be competitive and stay engaged and be involved.
I think that's huge. I think probably more in high school it is, but this like overemphasis on time where it's like
Yeah.
doesn't matter, bro. Like you're at a championship race, you gotta just compete, and then you end up running really fast, anyways.
Yeah, exactly. That's always how the best times come, isn't it? Like just not worried about it.
Yeah. No, I think about it. Like, most of the times you got a PR is like it was that mental decision to go with that guy or go get the hang on or
Exactly.
something like that, and it wasn't like 74. Oh, next lap I need to run 72. Like,
Yep.
what? That's stupid.
Yeah.
So, man, dude. So what do you got going on right now? So you got race Saturday,
Yep.
then conference, then is that it?
Well, we gotta see. If I run fast enough, I'll go to the first rounds of like the regional championships to try and qualify for nationals. But
Woo.
yeah, you gotta run like it's a crazy fast time this year because only the top 48 best times in the region. So there's 2 regions, East and West, and the top 48 times in the region go. And I haven't run super fast in the 10K this year, so I'm not in the top 48. But I think if I run a good race at Big Tens, then I could get in and keep the season alive.
What do you have to run?
It's probably gonna be like low 29 minutes, like 29:10 to 20. I can actually check really quick and see what the 48th best time is.
That'd be kind of, you've never qualified for regionals?
No, like I said, this is kind of my first real track season,
Yeah.
but yeah, I haven't qualified. It's always been the goal. Here we go. Qualifying list.
Gotta go out with a bang, man.
Oh yeah, definitely just kind of put it all out there. All right. Let's see. So the 48th best time, the last time in as of today would be 29:11. So I would have to probably run pretty close to that or under, which
Probably,
I think I can.
probably got to go sub 29, given that you have
Yeah.
2 weekends left of running,
We will
right?
see. So yeah, it's going to be it's a tall task, but I think I'm up to it.
Let's go, man.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
You got anything else, man, that you want to touch on?
Not really. You know, I think we kind of hit all the bases.
The bases. Well, it's been awesome, man. I wish you
Yeah.
luck for this weekend. Hope
Thank
it goes
you.
awesome.
Yeah.
I'll keep in touch, keep checking in on you, see if we go get that regional time. That'd be epic.
Yes, sir.
Okay, man. Well, thank you for coming on.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Pat.